It's Irv Gotti. If y'all don't know who Irv Gotti is, Irv Gotti was like the CEO of Murder Inc. He has artists like Ja Rule, Ashanti. I mean, those are like the two most prominent ones, you know what I'm saying? He's directed music videos for Ashanti, wrote for Ashanti, just a lot of the stuff like that, you know? And this fool's been like talking about, I mean, he's been on a lot of stuff, you know, beefs and everything, but specifically, he just keeps talking about Ashanti, you know? And it was funny because on that Drink Champs interview with Nori, they brought up Ashanti. And this is like the clip that everybody was like, you know, was going around. And a lot of people were talking about, but it was a clip because he was talking about Ashanti and he goes, I can get over all that. I can get over the Nelly thing. I can get over blah, blah. And then Nori he goes, sounds like you haven't, you know, it was like a small little like, it sounds like you haven't, you know. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Hypocritical AF podcast, the most underrated podcast in the world. That is a fact. I am your host, Albert Fig, and I'm currently, I don't know if you could tell or not, or hear it in my voice, but I am currently getting over a sickness. We'll leave it at that. Currently getting over a sickness. So if my voice sounds like crap, if I don't look too great on my face, if I look like I need some sunlight, some vitamin D, and some help, maybe like some IV, you're probably right. And it also messes some things up because I can't book a person or schedule a person to come on to be on as a guest if I'm sick, because I don't want to get anybody sick. You know what I'm saying? And unfortunately, that's me right now, feeling sick. Actually, it's the whole family right now. The whole family, everybody here has a bit of a sickness and it's going around. So be careful. Won't get into too much details like that, but currently getting over a sickness. What up, y'all? I am here again, back with another week of solo ones. Like I said, I think I'm going to make it a thing for these last 90s going into 100. I think I might just do solo ones going all the way to the 100 because no specific reason other than just because, you know what I'm saying? Just to see if I even want to do that, or just kind of switching some things up because, you know, if you don't know, the solo ones aren't exactly my faves, and everybody doesn't. I would say it's not the most entertaining one too. You know what I'm saying? Because it just doesn't you don't get the best version out of me. Like the best version you get from me and the best version you get from the podcast is sitting down with the person and engaging in the conversation. That's where I feel like I flourish the best. And also, it just makes the conversation to be better. You know what I'm saying? Especially since this isn't a specific niche podcast. Like I don't do just sports. I don't just do crime stuff. I don't do just gossip, rumors, and I don't do movie reviews, food reviews. I don't do one thing that's specifically centered in one lane. I kind of just talk about a bunch of different things, so it's tough to come in here, or like fighting, for example. If I did a specific UFC boxing, MMA boxing podcast, then it'd be pretty fucking easy, because then you have something to talk about every single week, you know. So in that case, that's not it. But I do want to break down some things because I always recap a bunch of different things. And I want to start with this past weekend. So, two things. Over the past weekend, went to my homie Juno's son's house. My homie Juno's son's birthday, Devin, went to Rock and Jump. And it was cool. It was you know, we took the little one, and it was little ones. It was his first time going to like an indoor trampoline place. So if you don't know, it's a spot called Rocking Jump, and it's indoor trampoline, right? Like you've seen these in movies. I'm sure you know friends have gone to them, or maybe you've gone to them before. And it's like a bunch of trampolines indoors. They have rock climbing, they have dodgeball fighting, they have freaking basketball hoops so you could dunk. The only time I feel like I'm athletic enough to do a 360. And then they have like a foam pit area where like you could jump in there. Then they even have the big ass Q-tip things you can fight. You know what I'm saying? It's like a fun little thing for kids, teens. I mean, I guess if you're you know, single, lonely, and don't have any friends, and you're just bored, I guess as an adult you can go too. You'd be kind of looked at a little bit weird. But they have that there. They have like a small little arcade area, and then they even have like little rooms for like birthday stuff you could reserve, you know? So it's like, it's a pretty cool place, right? So we took little man there, and it was funny because he ain't never been on a trampoline before, you know, and he's never been around that type of environment type of thing, you know, other than like a playhouse spot called Wacky Tacky. Like he's been to that before, but it's a little different, you know? So it was like he was tripping out on everything. Of course, we're mid fucking summer of August. So it was hot, and inside the place was a little warm too, even though they say the AC was on, but it didn't feel like it. So, you know, he's sweating his ass off, and I'm thinking, okay, dude's gonna get tired. Homie's gonna tire himself out in the trampoline, right? But he did that. We got some videos, we got some photos and everything. It's cool, man. Like for parent, I mean, if you're a parent, take your kids to do that shit. It's like a win-win because, like I said, the idea of it is for them to have fun, but also tires them out. But at the same time, as a parent, you're able to watch and look at them, and you'd be like, oh crap, like look at him, he's getting it down, you know? Because at first he didn't understand jumping and being on a trampoline. You know, he didn't understand it. So it was like, it was like a processing. Like he had to feel it out. A few minutes of just like understanding what to do, and then watching other kids. And then after he got it down, he was just like jumping. But it was funny too because he would jump. Every time he was jumping, he'd have his arms like this. You know, I don't know why. Maybe he just felt like it was like securing him better. So he was jumping, and his arms were like this. So he looked funny. We got some videos on it. But excuse me. It was a cool little thing. Like I said, just seeing little man being on the trampoline. And fast forward to that, we went to there was a concert over the weekend at Ace of Spades to see one of my favorite music groups, bands. I would say more. I mean, they do have a band, but I would say music group. You know, it was on Saturday at Ace of Spades. And it was a group that's called Duran Jones and the Indications. Duran Jones is the singer, the Indications is the band, but they all sing too. So that's why I say it's a group. But they're one of my faves. They're one of my faves, and they've been one of my faves for like years. And I want to say this was only, don't quote me on it, but I want to say this was their second time coming to Sacramento. Second time. I remember because years back, it might have been probably more than that, but I remember this is how I discovered them. So on Spotify, you know, when you're listening to an artist and they'll do like recommendations of what's next, or if you listen to this, you like this, or if you like this, you might listen to this. And sometimes when you go to your favorite artist, if you type in, let's say Drake, right? If you search for Drake, one thing that comes up from him will be like his top songs, and then it'll be a playlist curated by him or something like that, or for him, by him. And then you have Drake Radio. So it's like, if you go to the Drake Radio, it shows like a plethora of music that's like similar and related to him, you know, so they'll show a bunch of different artists. And then, you know, of course, his music will be sprinkled in there too, but it's like similar artists. So I was listening to like some old school Motown throwback, like old school music, you know, and I was listening to Brenton Wood. I was listening to some old school Marvin Gaye. I was listening to Heat Wave. I was listening to just stuff like that, right? And then I was on the radio portion of it. So they popped up on that radio portion of it. And it was one of their songs, and I was like, oh, this is dope. And it's tough for me to describe. I mean, we tried to describe it, and it was like Motown, old school, indie. Matter of fact, I'm on here right now. Why don't I just freaking look it up? But it's their style of music. It's an see, like right here, they're listed as an R&B group, right? This is straight from the Wikipedia, right? It's an American contemporary R&B soul group. Yeah, soul group. That's probably a better description than what I actually said. And they formed in 2012. The band came to prominence as a part of the soul revivalist movement around the time of their debut album in 2018. Yeah, so 2018, that's their second album. no, yeah, their debut album 2018. That's when I first heard of them, and then their second album was 2019, and then the most recent album, Private Space, in July 2021. And yeah, so around 2018, that's when I first had heard about them, and they're actually from Bloomington, Indiana. So it makes sense. Like over there's some good like contemporary, old school classic soul music, which is dope as shit. So it was interesting too, because I remember I was driving back home from work, and when I heard them, when you listen to an artist and you just discover them, then you start to go into like you start to go into like a deep dive on them, and you go in the rabbit hole and everything. So for them too, I remember I was listening to the music, I listened to more, I listened to another one, then I started like listening to all the music, and then ironically, I don't know how, maybe just the way the algorithm is and everything, I was on Instagram, and then it started showing me, how like you ever had this? It happens on iPhones a lot. I don't know about like other phones, but when you start talking about something, because they listen to you and shit, whenever you start talking about like, oh, you know what I need to get a bed, or you know what I need to get a hard drive or something like that. Well, the next time you go on Google, or the next time you go on Instagram or Amazon, all of a sudden you start getting these ads that pop up for like Bed Bath and Beyond, Best Buy, all these places that you were saying, they'll come in for recommendations, because they listen to you. So it was the same type of thing with this. I was listening to the music, and then all of a sudden I started seeing ads, and it said Ace of Spades, and they were performing that day. And I was like, oh shit, this is the one instance when I was like, okay, that was pretty cool. That was convenient, because I didn't know. And sure enough, I was like, cool, they're performing today at Ace of Spades. And I was like, well, I'm going to go. It was one of those things where I was like, well, I got to go. And so I remember I went, I tried to buy tickets, and they were online. It said, did it say sold out? No, it didn't say sold out, but when I was trying to buy it, it wouldn't let me. And I was like, what the hell? But they did have verifiable resale tickets, but the resale tickets were like for $100-something. And I was like, damn, hold up. So I went over there, and I was kind of just driving and kind of seeing, what it was going to be like. And then I ended up like, because there's a bar right around the corner of Ace of Spades called R15. And I was like, I stopped there, I walked, and I talked to one of the security, and I was like, hey, is this thing like sold out? And he was like, yeah, we're pretty much at full capacity. And I was like, damn. So I missed out on the opportunity to see them. So this time around, I was like, nah, I'll make sure that like we get to go see them. So we went, and it was, even though it was short, like we had, I don't know, we were there for like 2 hours, 2 hours, because they had an opener. They had an opener perform for like 45 minutes or so. And it was first of all, it was like stupid packed, dummy packed, like the whole, like Ace of Spades has changed throughout the years. Like I remember when I first went to Ace of Spades, it was just like the floor. That was it. Like literally you walk in and it was just the floor. And then, and then it slowly went to like, there's a bar on the right side. I mean, there's always been the bars, but I'm talking about like the stage, and then turned into like a side stage. And that was like a standing place. There's always been up top, but I've never really seen people go up there. I don't know why. And then it went to, then it was the center stage, the side where people used to be able to stand out. Now it turned into seating. And then the top, those are reserved seating. And then it turned into 3 bars, seating on the left side. That's like RSVP at the top. And they have like designated walkways, So it's just, it's all part of the growth in it and everything, and just seeing it grow. So that's cool. But it was like dumbass pack, and still the same thing. I didn't feel like the AC was working in there either. Again, summertime is Sac, August. So yeah, it's going to be hot as shit. So it was hot. And then on top of that, when you have all the people like clumped up together, you feel me, like with body heat, and everybody's like touching everybody, and rubbles, elbows are rubbing into each other. It gets, it's more hot like that. So it was quick. It was hot, and we just had to, because parents, we still had to go home and get little man, put him to sleep. You know what I'm saying? So it was a cool little thing like that. And I'm glad we were able to see them. And definitely one off the bucket list. And if you haven't checked them out, I always, not always, but I tell people about the group often, whenever I can, or whenever when the person asks for like music recommendations, because everybody, like, after a while, when you listen to the same thing constantly over and over again, it gets pretty repetitive. So I get it. So that's one group that I would recommend for you guys to check out. But moving on from that, I'm actually going to use this time of this half portion of the podcast to like get into some like stuff that's been popping off in the world lately, actually. And for one, because everything, there's something new like every single day. Like literally every single day, there's something new. There's always some drama stuff going on, or new music, or stuff like that, But by the time this comes out, you already have passed. So for starters, for number one, I gotta give a shout out, a happy belated, because like I said, by the time this comes out, happy belated to the GOAT, my personal GOAT, Kobe Bryant. His birthday, 44th. Well, what would have been his 44th birthday just passed, which is still crazy to even, it's still tough to even like break that down and comprehend and understand the whole situation of him passing, and not just him, like just all the victims involved in the helicopter crash. It's still crazy. Like, it's crazy. But happy birthday to the man. So much motivation, so much stuff to pull from, the Mamba mentality. Like I said, my personal GOAT, that's just me. So that's issue number one. And then number two is, y'all want to talk, I put this on my Instagram story a few days ago, but it was a mistake. Like, I don't know if it was intentional, when they say some things are clickbait. I don't know if it was clickbait, but I saw that the Breakfast Club put something on their YouTube for their clips, and it was the rumor report, with Angela Yee. And it was funny because they put a title, and like I said, I don't know if it was clickbait to grab your attention, or maybe they didn't know, or maybe it was just an honest mistake and it was a typo or something, stuff like that, But it was funny because the title said, I'm trying to find the exact one before I say before I butcher it and like give a summarized version of it. But basically it said Cardi B responds to UFC star Andrew Tate's comments about, blah, blah, blah. It was funny because the reason why I thought that was funny is because it said UFC star Andrew Tate's comments, like his comments. Okay, here's the thing. I'm a big fan of MMA. I'm a big fan of the UFC. I don't know much about this Andrew Tate guy. I just know that he gets popped up every single day. And actually, no, we talked about him a little bit at Jeffrey's Barbershop because I was seeing clips of a podcast that he was on. So I'm not going to lie and be like, I don't know this guy for anything. I definitely understand who the person is and everything. But it's funny because I know for a fact, he's not in no UFC. For a fact. He's not in no UFC. So they got me. I clicked on it. Like I said, I don't know if that was intentional or not, but they got me. I clicked on it, and it said, when you actually listen to what she's saying, it says that she was going back and forth with Jake Shields, retired MMA fighter that used to fight for the UFC. I wouldn't call him a UFC star, but whatever. And Jake Shields was defending the Andrew Tate guy, and so they were going back and forth because I guess the dude got like banned off Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, and Jake Shields was like defending him, and so that was the real headline on it, but just seeing that, it made me click on it, and I thought it was hilarious. So like I said, I don't know if that was intentional or not. I don't know if there was an accident or not, but it was hilarious. Okay, definitely not a UFC star. Okay, don't be disrespectful. Okay. All right. So speaking about a person that gets like been brought up a lot and who's just like on this stuff, like it seems like every other day there's something going on. You know what I'm saying? It's this fucking, okay. And y'all tell me if I'm wrong with this. Okay. This dude has been on the news a lot lately ever since the Drink Champs interview. It's Irv Gotti. If y'all don't know who Irv Gotti is, Irv Gotti was like the CEO of Murder Inc. He has artists like Ja Rule, Ashanti. I mean, those are like the two most prominent ones, you know what I'm saying? Like he's directed music videos for Ashanti, wrote for Ashanti, just a lot of the stuff like that, you know? And this fool's been like talking about, I mean, he's been on a lot of stuff, you know, beefs and everything, but specifically, he just keeps talking about Ashanti, you know? And it was funny because on that Drink Champs interview with Nori, it was, they brought up Ashanti. And this is like the clip that everybody was like, you know, was going around and a lot of people were talking about, but it was a clip because he was talking about Ashanti and he goes, I can get over all that. I can get over the Nelly thing. I can get over blah, blah. And then Nori he goes, it sounds like you haven't, you know, it was like a small little like, it sounds like you haven't, you know? And it was funny because that's kind of like where I'm going at it with Ape right now. This, ever since that the Drink Champs episode has came out, he's just been still talking. I mean, because they got a documentary that's coming out, the Murder Inc. doc. He's still going in on this whole Ashanti thing. Like, he's salty about stuff. And then he's mad because Ashanti's like, she's wanting to own her masters, I think, to her music. So she wants to go the Taylor Swift route, which is you re-record your music, like literally say you did one album under a company, like let's just say Universal, something like that, right? So it was like they own, I don't know if it's like the publishing and the masters, or if it was just a publishing deal, or well, publishing will be like for a streaming company, right? I think so. But like the masters of it, you know? So I want to say she did an album with under Murder Inc., which they own the masters. So what they'll do is they'll re-record literally the same exact songs, the same exact words and everything. They'll re-record it under her. Say if you're like independent now, what you'll do is you'll re-record the whole music and then re-release it. And then you'll tell the people to start either buying that new album that you just made or start streaming the new one because it's the same song, just re-recorded. So that way all the proceeds go to the individual and they're able to own all those masters. And when you do that, you're making what they call timeless music. So it's like 20 years from now, 30 years from now, if that music's still being played, you still get all the rights and the ownerships to it and you get residuals, you know? So that's the idea behind re-recording your music. And it's smart, actually, when you think about it. It's actually brilliant, you know? And I'm not saying she's the pioneer in it or anything like that. I'm just saying the first notable person that I've heard of doing that was Taylor Swift. And so that's what Ashanti was trying to do or is doing or something like that. And Irv Gotti, you know, being the CEO of Murder Inc., he caught wind of that. So there's just like some weird stuff right there. And then there's like some resentment towards her because of feelings in there and everything. But so I say all that to say, dude it's damn near 20 years. Let that shit go, bro. Let this shit go. It's damn near 20 years and he's still talking about Ashanti right now. So they showed like a little clip of the documentary and he's describing an alleged intimate moment with her at the crib or whatever, you know? And I get it in that, like, if you're doing the Murder Inc. doc, you have to include times from, you know, that or stuff or stories from that time frame. I get all that. But at one point, you're just like, bro, you sound really salty right now. You know, because that's what it really does sound like. You sound salty. And it's like, bro, I mean, even with the Masters stuff, again, going back to the Drink Champs interview, he talks about that. He says, even if she re-records everything, even if she does this and does that, it was like, you still have to get clearance because of samples and references and stuff like that. And he was just like, let me already tell you, it's a no. It's a no. You know? Matter of fact, watch. If I can find that clip too, that'd be great. finding, and he found them, and that's the thing though too. I get it when you feel like, you know what I mean, you discovered a person and you created them and you got the success. I guess, you know, I could see some of it, but not all of it, bro. It's like, come on, bro. So another thing about the masters thing, and it's the same thing, kind of like Kanye actually has some of this going against like Big Sean too, and some of his artists, and you know, some people have different deals than others, but it's like, at one hand, you could look at it like, why you have to go to the route of re-recording everything and you know, going all that way just to own your own ones. Well, business wise and legally, again, I'm not a music or producer or a music industry expert at all, but from my understanding, it's like, you don't even have to go the route. It actually could be a lot easier and a lot smoother if the label just releases it to you. So you gotta look at it as a business and one hand versus one hand. So from the business aspect of it, and if you're the label, can you just release the rights to them and release the masters? Sure, but then you're gonna lose out on all that money, all the money. If you're the entity or the creative or the artist, if you want to get the masters, first of all, they might sell it for like 400 million or something like that. Like, you want to own the masters to this whole catalog. All right, it's $100 million. So you might not got that 100 million. You know what I mean? It depends. That's why they re-release that way. Actually, let me backtrack a little bit. I want to say for sure. Let me look this up. Before I say Taylor Swift was the original one. I want to say there was another one. There was another artist. Or how did this go? Michael Jackson. Although I would say more now than Michael Jackson's estate. He owns his masters, but it was sound financial advice that McCartney may have come to regret giving on August 14th, 1985, when Michael Jackson purchased the publishing rights to the vast majority of the Beatles. Michael Jackson bought the majority of the Beatles catalog for $47 million, and this is back in '85. So 87 is a lot. 87 mil. No, 47 million. 47 million is a lot regardless. But 47 million back in the 80s was fucking, I'm sure that was a lot. So he bought someone else's masters. I thought it was his own. No. He invested in it. Okay, so he sold, Paul McCartney sold, it doesn't say the percentage, but it just says 40. He sold a vast majority of the Beatles catalog for 47 million. And I guess Paul McCartney was going to buy it himself, but he got outbid. So Michael Jackson had owned all that stuff. I don't even know you can buy other artists' catalog like that. But again, it just goes back to what I tell you. This music industry stuff is just a business. You know? That's crazy. So that's another one. But I wonder if does he own? And I want to say there's something about Eminem too. What's the Eminem one? Okay, look at this one. This one's on Google. It says, in 2007, 3 years after the song was released, Michael's company, Sony ATV, bought the publishing company Famous Music for $370 million. Damn. This purchase meant he then owned the rights to all of Eminem's music. Michael continued to own the rapper's music until he died in 2009. Oh, damn. So I didn't even know that. So for a while, technically speaking, for a while, Michael Jackson owned all of Eminem's music up until 2009. And this is back when Eminem was like, I mean, he's still one of the, top dogs, but back in the 2000s that was his thing, Holy shit, I didn't even know that. Back catalog. Sony ATV. Yeah, so a lot of them, like I said, a lot of these label companies are like, they'll own the masters to it. So that's why a lot of stuff this thing right here, the 2016, it says Michael Jackson's catalog as far as stuff that he was owning or the Michael Jackson estate, the worth is like 50 billion. Bro, a lot of us got to get put on game on that. I had no idea, for real. That's crazy. But yeah, so long story short, with Irv Gotti, bruh, you got to get over it. You got to get over it. I get you're telling the story as it is in the doc, but you got to get over it. My guy. Oh, when we passed that too. So Diddy and Jermaine Dupri, they're gonna go at it on the verses, right? And I thought this was gonna be an interesting one. For one, number one, I disagree with P Diddy's statements when he says that R&B is dead. Definitely not true. Definitely not true. There's R&B music now. If he's saying like the feel, like there's no feel in it anymore, like the love, because back in the day, you know, a lot of the 90s R&B music was like really focused, centered on love, like hella love, hard. You know, now it's just like love making, and which is still, you know, rhythm and blues. It's just, well, I guess, yeah, I don't know. It's not dead. You know, it's just not dead. I wish I had someone here that I can go back and forth with or kind of go into in depth with it, but I don't agree that it's dead, bro. The R&B is still there. I mean, you have, let's see, Jacquees. I like the way I say it like that. Chris Brown, obviously, always there. Neil's hasn't been making as much music, you know, but he's been there for a minute. Bryson Tiller. I mean, you couldn't even throw Drake in the R&B too. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes he's pop, sometimes he's rap, but sometimes he's R&B. And those are just some, bro. Summer Walker, Kehlani. What's her name? Sorry for the sniffles again. I'm sick. Those are just some that pop into my head right now. So it's definitely not dead. But they're gonna do a versus because, you know, they're both producers, DJs, and they've produced hella music. So, and hits too, straight up hits. So I'm definitely looking forward to that one. And I want to see what they're gonna go at it, because some of them, it's whenever it comes to producers doing it or like DJs doing it, it's tough because they're going hit for their, I guess it's their songs that they might have produced, but then is it them? Because they're not writing the shit, you know? So is it the artists or is it the producers? Because like the difference between a beat maker, a DJ, and a producer, a person who makes beats, right? That's really all they do. They just make beats. They orchestrate the beats. They send it. Cool. Producer gets beats. They might take some stuff out. They might insert samples. They might add a few things. But they might get a bass, right? And then they'll add their own thing to it. Well, they might get the beat maker might send the actual tempo of what it's going to be. And the producer gets that. We'll add in some guitars. We'll add in some 808s or some effects, you know? And then they'll get verses from artists. They'll get their verse, 16 bars, something like that. And they'll get that. And then they'll add in the transitions, the echo, the verb, the simple, like, we the best, and stuff like that. And the transitions, and then the speed and the tempo. So they oversee like the beginning, the middle, and the end of a song or a track. So that's what a producer does. And a DJ, well, DJ just, well, the term, I don't want to speak for all the DJs. I'm not a DJ, right? But it's changed throughout the years. Like back in the day, before the internet and everything, DJs would break records. When you hear about break records, it means they'd be the ones to like to be the first to play at a club. And then that's what actually like got people listening to it, everything. And then if it caught, you know, if it was buzzing and if it was doing great, then it became a hit. And that's why they would call it break records. They would break the record. So, and it was like, you know, back in the day, it was like people used to play. They used to, not play. They used to pay DJs like, yo, play this in the club. Here's this amount, you know, or labels would be like, put this in rotation. And then that's just at clubs. Now for radio stations too, they would throw it in the rotation, and radio is 24/7, so they would play it this hour, play it this hour, play it this hour, and that's how sometimes DJs would break records, and some DJs were known for doing that. More so, I would say, in New York. New York was more prominent than other states. That's just my opinion. But now DJ's role is, you might be involved in the A&R process of an album, like picking which song goes where, and you'll play them at certain festivals, shows. You might play right there more than the other. And then another thing I learned about DJs too is that some places might have an opener DJ, and then the main DJ comes up. And I didn't know that. What they do is, whenever you have an opener DJ, that's kind of like, let's just say 9 to 11 or something like that. They're playing music, getting the vibe going for clubs. And then when the main DJ that's going to come out, he'll go on from like, you feel me, 11 to 1:30, like the closing part of the club. I didn't know that. And actually, that makes sense. The main DJ would tell the opener DJ, don't play these songs, like don't play these hits. He's going to play them, save them for him. So let's just say if there's one track that's like the hottest track in the club, like for example, let's just say when Bad and Bougie came out, that shit was a hit. Like that was played fucking everywhere. So the main DJ will come up and be like, hey, don't play this song. I'm going to play it on my set. Be like, all right. So it's like a respect thing, but it's also understanding like, hey, if you're the main one that people, especially if you pay for a club to get in and everything, and if you're the headliner, it makes sense, So that's what they'll do. And so DJs had a lot of power like that too, because they would put those in their rotations, and vice versa. I was listening to the 50 Cent Breakfast Club interview, and they were saying, DJ Envy was talking about the song. What was it? The Crucible. I forget the whatever 50 Cent track it was, but he was saying like you couldn't even play that track in certain places because motherfuckers would get beat up for playing that, because it was like a diss record, So some places were like, no, you can't play that because it's a diss track, So the world of music there's a lot of like intricacies and pieces and stuff that's goes behind everything that I definitely wanted to be involved in at one point in my life. And then I remembered, well, I live in St. Lucas, bro. Like the closest radio station was KRKC, I think, in King City, and then there was one in Salinas. But it just times are different. West Coast music was different than East Coast music, and to be honest, I was just focusing more on not trying to get shot. To be honest, I was like, bro, there's way too much stuff going on right now. I'm just out here trying to live. I'm not trying to get shot. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, yeah, so all that's been going on, and I hope y'all were able to learn some from all this music stuff. Oh, let's close out with the grand opening. My homie Jeffrey, podcast alum, his barbershop, the Basics. This Saturday, so this comes out Wednesday, yeah. So this Saturday, August 27th at 12 p.m., probably like 12 to 5, 12 to 7. They might fuck around and make it an all day type of thing, but he will be hosting the official grand opening for the Basics Barbershop in downtown Sacramento, 408 12th Street. And if y'all don't remember, if you haven't checked out the episode, please do. We did a mobile episode at that shop, myself and Jeffrey. We talked about the shop, the process it took to get it, the ins and outs behind everything, some secret details, and the clothing brand, the merch, just everything that was, a part of it. It was a good episode. So if you haven't done that, I've talked about it in the last two already. Still, go ahead, go back, check out the Basics. And so the grand opening this Saturday, August 27th, 12 p.m., 408 12th Street in downtown Sacramento. Come out, come show your support, come kick it. I'm really fucking hoping that I'm over my sickness by then. Everything is like on track, looking like it's gonna be. So I'm hoping everything is smooth. But come check us out. I'm definitely gonna be there. Pop in, show out, come show some love, come show some support. Let's take photos. I'll be there. Like I said, pending my sickness. If I'm still sick, I'm sorry, won't be able to make it. I hope y'all understand why, but I should be good by then. And I'll be in contact with him too. But that's it. So again, we might fuck around and do solo ones all the way to the end. So I hope y'all rock with me. If you don't, if you pass up on it, hey, I get it. It's just me. But I appreciate all the support that I can get. I'm here again. I'm sick of shit, but yet I'm here, okay? Because mama mentality. I'm Albert Fig, your host. And as always, y'all stay safe. Peace.